arrived at Camille's bridal brunch just as the servers were passing around glasses of sparkling rosé. But the moment I stepped onto the patio, I felt the shift. Every table was perfectly set with place cards, tiny rose-shaped truffles, and pastel napkins folded into fans, and yet no card with my name on it. Camille glanced up from a cluster of bridesmaids. "Oh," she said lightly. "Did we forget your seat?" "That's awkward." She gave a small laugh, the kind meant to signal that the problem was mine, not hers. One of the bridesmaids chimed in. "Maybe she can squeeze at the end." Another giggled. "Or just stand. It's not a long brunch." I swallowed the sting. "It's fine," I said, even though it wasn't. Camille's eyes skimmed over my outfit, then drifted back to her friends as if I had already stepped out of frame. She never asked if I wanted a seat. She never even pretended. The story you are about to hear is a fictional work created by the writing team of the channel Revenge World, inspired by real-life situations to convey lessons about family, emotion, and human values. All characters and events are illustrative. After brunch ended, I walked to my car, the sun sharp on the pavement. My phone buzzed. A message from Mom. "Please don't come to the wedding. The family wants a drama-free weekend." My fingers went cold. Before I could breathe, a notification popped up. Camille liked the message. A clean, final approval. I typed back, "Great choice," and hit send. Something in me tightened, not breaking, but hardening. If you have ever felt that quiet snap inside you, tell me where you're listening from. It helps to know who's out there. I unlocked my car door, slid into the seat, and stared ahead. They had not just uninvited me from a brunch. They were rewriting the entire story of the weekend, and they had written me out. And for the first time, I felt the beginning of something I had never allowed myself before the decision not to go quietly. When I got home, my phone was still vibrating with the leftover chaos of the brunch. I set it face down on the counter, but the words from Mom's message kept circling like a low, steady hum. Growing up, I was the one who handled everything. Mom said it was because I was organized, but what she meant was that Helena and Camille needed someone to carry the weight while they enjoyed the spotlight. Dad stayed quiet in the background, nodding at whatever Helena decided. Earlier that month, I had sent Mom an update on the payments for the wedding. The venue deposit came through. I told her. $4,800. She barely looked up. Good. Camille is so grateful. Camille never said a word about gratitude. She just sent me a picture of a wine barrel display she wanted and wrote, "Book it." Then there were the caterers. The first installment was $6,200. I reminded Mom. She smiled like I had handed her a gift. "You always make things easy." Nova. Even the lighting design, $3,450 landed on me. Camille shrugged. "You know what looks good more than I do." But the truth was simpler. I was the one with the best credit score, the reliable job in logistics, the predictable patience, and they used that softness like a key to every door they wanted opened. Only one person ever looked at me without expecting something in return. Grandma June had pressed my hands between hers last week and said, "You give too much, Nova. One day, they will mistake it for obligation." At the time, I thought she was being dramatic. Now, those words sat inside me like a truth that had been waiting to surface. 2 days after the brunch, Mom called me over to the house. Her tone was bright, the way it always was when she wanted something. Camille was already in the living room, flipping through a glossy binder of photos from the wine estate in Sonoma. "We've been thinking," Mom began, smoothing her blouse. A wedding weekend would make everything feel more elevated. A welcome dinner. Maybe a vineyard tour. Tanner's family would be impressed, Camille added. It would really set the tone. Nova. I nodded slowly. That sounds expensive. Mom's eyes flicked toward the kitchen counter, where a slim folder lay half open. I recognized the handwriting instantly, Grandma June's notes on her certificate of deposit, her emergency fund, $12,000 saved over decades. My stomach tightened. "Mom," I said carefully, "that money is for Grandma." Mom waved a dismissive hand. "She barely touches it. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event." Camille didn't look up from the binder. "It is not a big deal. Nova. You're overreacting." I felt the air leave my lungs. "You cannot use her savings for a party." Mom's smile thinned. "There you go again. Creating problems. Camille deserves a beautiful wedding." Before I could say more, Grandma June shuffled into the doorway, leaning lightly on the frame. Her voice was soft but steady. "Let the girl keep her fund. Helena." Mom stiffened. "Mother, please. We are discussing family matters." June's gaze moved to me, full of something fragile and knowing. "I heard enough," she whispered. "Things are being prepared without you." Mom clicked her tongue and turned away, already flipping through brochures. Camille kept comparing wine barrels, but June's words settled deep, like a thread pulled loose inside my chest, tightening in a way I could no longer ignore. I stopped by the house later that week with a revised seating chart I had spent hours perfecting. When I stepped into the living room, Camille and Mom were huddled together on the couch, their heads bent over Camille's phone. Mom looked up briefly. "Oh, Nova. We're going over the guest layout. Camille found something better than what you sent." Camille tilted the screen toward me. Not enough for me to see clearly, just enough to make her control obvious. "This arrangement is more elegant," she said. Yours felt crowded. I held out the folder in my hand. "The version I made fits the venue's capacity and keeps families together." Camille barely glanced at it. "Well, we like this one." Her phone buzzed with a new notification. I saw my name before she turned the screen away, but not fast enough. A preview from the family group chat. We removed Nova from the photo boards months ago. The pictures look cleaner without her. And below it, Camille's own message. "Agreed." She tapped the heart icon on Mom's uninvite message again, right in front of me, as if stamping the decision into stone. I felt something sharp twist inside. "You planned this," I said quietly. Mom exhaled, annoyed by my tone. "Do not start. This weekend is about harmony." Camille stood smoothing her dress. "It is for the best, Nova. Everyone agrees. Everyone." June's voice echoed in my memory. "They are preparing things without you." I stared at them, the two people who claimed to love me, and all I saw was a pattern I had spent my entire life pretending not to notice. Camille gathered her binder and walked past me without meeting my eyes. Mom followed, saying, "Try not to make this harder than it needs to be." But it already was. That night, I opened my laptop and pulled up every contract I had signed. Line after line showed my name, Nova Carter, listed as the sole point of contact, the responsible party, the person guaranteeing each payment. I whispered the numbers aloud as if hearing them would make them feel less unreal. $4,800 for the venue, $6,200 for catering, $3,450 for lighting and decor. Each amount sat on the screen like a quiet accusation. Mom had not appreciated it. Camille had not thanked me. They had not even pretended. My phone blinked with another message from the family thread, Camille sending a new seating chart and Mom replying, "Perfect, sweetheart." I clicked out of the thread and opened a private message to Mom. My fingers did not shake. "Great choice." I stared at the words, then added the sentence I should have said years ago. "Then you will be free of my payments too." I hit send. A strange calm spread through me, like stepping into a room where the noise had finally stopped. I returned to the contracts and began drafting emails. "Hello, I will not be moving forward with our agreement. Please cancel all pending invoices." I repeated the message to the venue, the caterer, the lighting team, the rental company. I kept my tone professional, no explanations, no resentment. Around midnight, a soft knock sounded at my door. When I opened it, Grandma June stood in the hallway wrapped in her cardigan, her eyes already glassy with worry. "I know that look," she murmured, stepping inside. "They hurt you again." I nodded, unable to pretend this time. June sat beside me on the couch, taking my hand. "You do not have to carry them." "Nova, I am done," I said. "This time, I am choosing us." Her shoulders eased, and for the first time in years, she looked relieved, not because I had solved a problem for the family, but because I had finally stopped letting them break me. By morning, the fallout had already started. My phone rang first, an unfamiliar number, then another, then 3 more in a row. I let them go to voicemail, but each message told the same story. "Nova, we received your cancellation request. Your mother is calling us, but we cannot reinstate anything without your authorization." Another voice followed. "The date has already been released. We cannot hold the space anymore." Then a final one. "Your family is demanding explanations. We will direct them to you." I set the phone down and exhaled slowly. A moment later, Mom called. I let it ring. Camille called next. Then Tanner. I let every name fade into silence. Grandma June sat at my kitchen table, hands wrapped around a warm mug. "They are discovering who really held everything together," she said gently. "I am not going back," I told her. She nodded. "Good." That afternoon, June and I met with Miles Rowan in his small office downtown. He reviewed the contracts, the payments, the messages. His expression stayed calm, but his voice sharpened. "They relied on your credit, your labor, and your silence," he said. "That ends now." June squeezed my arm. "We will face them together." Miles closed the folder with a quiet finality. "They return tomorrow. Be prepared. They will not expect you to stand your ground." For the first time. I felt ready. The next afternoon, Grandma June and I waited with Miles Rowan in a quiet corner of the private arrivals lounge at the San Francisco airport. Miles kept his folder on his lap, one finger resting on its edge as if he could already feel the confrontation pressing against it. June's hand found mine. "Stay steady, Nova." "I am trying," I murmured. The sliding doors opened, and my family stepped through. Helena led the group with her usual sharp posture, Rick trailing behind, Camille pulling an oversized suitcase, and Tanner checking his phone. Helena spotted us first. Her face tightened. "Nova, what are you doing here? We arranged a car." "I am not here to drive you," I said. Before she could respond, Miles stood. "Good afternoon. I am Miles Rowan, legal counsel for Nova Carter and June Carter in a matter requiring your attention." Camille frowned. "A lawyer." Seriously, Miles opened his folder. "We will begin with documentation." He handed Helena a packet. "These are records of every payment for your daughter's wedding venue deposit of $4,800, catering installment of $6,200, decor costs of $3,450 each contracted solely under Nova's name." Helena's voice cracked. She offered to help. "No," I said. "I was expected to." Miles continued. "This section contains screenshots from your family group chat. The message uninviting Nova, the approval from Camille, and earlier messages discussing removing her from the event photos." Camille stepped forward. "You are blowing this out of proportion." "You erased me," I said quietly. Camille's jaw tightened. "You were never meant to be in the main boards anyway." Miles lifted another page. "This part covers the attempted use of June Carter's $12,000 certificate of deposit to fund additional wedding events." June's voice cut through the air. "You will not touch my savings." Helena's composure finally cracked. "Mother, we were trying to make the weekend special. Why is everyone attacking us?" Rick rubbed his forehead. "Helena." "This is bad," Tanner muttered. This is not what I signed up for. Miles closed the folder. You will need to respond to the notices by the stated deadline. Until then, you are barred from accessing June's accounts. Helena's eyes glistened. Nova, what are we supposed to do now? I met her gaze calm, clear. Figure it out. The same way you expected me to. June rose beside me, steady as a pillar. We turned toward the exit, leaving their stunned silence behind us, step by step reclaiming ground I had never truly been allowed to stand on. In the weeks after the airport, the noise around the wedding faded into a distant hum. Camille stopped sending updates. Tanner postponed everything until further clarity. Helena stayed silent. Rick sent one short message. I am sorry, and nothing more. But June came over every morning. One afternoon, while she trimmed the roses in my small backyard, she said, They thought you would bend again. I almost did, I admitted. She brushed soil from her palms. But you did not. You saved us both. I sat beside her, feeling the truth settle in my chest, soft, steady, final. I started volunteering. I told her. At the Senior Advocacy Center downtown, they need people who understand what being taken advantage of feels like. June's eyes warmed. You are building something new, maybe for the first time, I said. A quiet breeze rustled through the garden. June placed a small wooden box in my hands inside it. A faded photo of her as a young woman, her smile bright and hopeful. Keep this, she said, a reminder that strength is not silence. I closed the box gently. Thank you, June. If you have ever rebuilt your life from the edges inward, tell me where you are listening from. Your voice matters here. June slipped her arm through mine, and together we walked between the roses, letting the new roots take hold.